Hey, howdy everyone. We're back. It's been a couple weeks. Holiday season sucks for lining shit up and having free time and just even will to do things. We missed a couple weeks. We're all caught up though. We watched everything. Um,
Yeah,
I will point out that last week AEW and NXT tied in the ratings, which is
amazing.
yeah, like
It's
fucking
like,
unheard. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Did they tie? Yeah, they or was it the week before last? They tied one of these weeks in the ratings, which is unheard of.
mhm.
Um, and
This is
that's
truly an inflection point here.
yeah. So once again, for just the second time, NXT has defeated AEW in the ratings. They drew 795,000 viewers, up 2% from last week. Last week was the week they tied, yeah. AEW's season finale drew just 683,000 average viewers, down 12% from last week. Not
Gee,
hard to see why, given how much Dynamite sucked.
my God, like, it's just watching a train wreck in slow motion here.
I I really want AEW to be successful, and I knew going in because we had watched some of their shows before they had television. I knew going in there was a good chance that it wasn't going to be my cup of tea as far as wrestling goes, and I was prepared to live with that. But my God, the show they need to figure out something. I'm putting a moratorium on. They have 3 months, 12 weeks to turn this ship around. And if it's not any better by then, we're just gonna stop reviewing Dynamite because I don't see a purpose in torturing myself for 2 hours every
Yeah,
Thursday.
concentrate it. Yeah, the metaphor that popped into my head is watching AEW this week. It's like a flamingo trying to navigate through a field of Lego bricks. It's very flashy and very shiny, but it's gonna have a hard time. It's having a hard time getting to where it's going.
Yeah,
There's a lot of stumbling blocks in the way.
and there's so much repetition. We didn't talk about the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny, and the Nightmare Collective, and the Dark Order, and how they're all basically the same fucking gimmick.
Yes. Oh, that is true. Like, oh God, I'm only realizing that now. But yes, that is extremely true. They need a little something more. They need to show more of the Dark Order. They need to start having those matches going.
Yeah, or I don't know. Like, I liked it better when they were fucking like the more comedic angle on the Dark Order, where it's like it's the Church of Scientology, but now they're like trying to present them as a serious main event level threat, and I'm like, no,
Get out of
I'm
here,
back to
you
not caring about these guys.
know. Evil Uno, you've gone back to Evil Saturn. Um, I think sort of the the crystallized moment for me when I realized like, oh man, this is not a good spot here. Was I looked at the opening match for AEW this week, and I looked at the opening match for NXT this week, and
Yeah,
one was a championship match between two of the top build superstars in the roster,
yep,
and the other was I think it was a tag team match that started. They didn't even introduce them. They were
yeah.
just like, "Oh, the starting now.
They
It's
started in the
time to the
ring,
match."
and I mean, to their credit, these are guys that they're trying to push, but AEW so far has not been really effective in pushing anyone. Like even like acts that like the Lucha Bros. I'm a big Lucha Bros fan, but based on the television, I don't give a fuck about the Lucha Bros.
Who are they feuding with?
They just show up. I guess SCU again. I thought we already had that match.
Chris Jericho is the only one out of any of these guys who have been able to like have a comprehensive like I understand where from match to match what you're doing. It's because he comes in the ring and he talks for 15 minutes
Yeah,
every week, and
like
that helps AEW
it
instead of having it on your YouTube show.
help build his character. Yeah, and so much shit. Like they're talking about it too. They're talking about fucking like matches that happened on AEW Dark and like they patch things up on social media. It's like I shouldn't have to fucking watch your YouTube show and follow everyone on social media to understand the storylines. That's what your fucking television's for.
The extra stuff is extra. And this is, again, I said this last week, not last week, but the last time we talked. This is especially rough when you're trying to capture like the people who don't watch wrestling. You're trying to bring them in.
Yeah,
You
they
don't
need
bring
to.
them in with match on match on match with no context.
Yeah, this whatever it averages out to be, like 1.5, 1.3 million viewers. That's the hardcore audience, and like they have their half of that roughly. Those are the audience of hardcore fans who know who the elite are, and like honestly, if you just watch the television, you have no idea who the fuck the elite are because they've never like
That's true.
been presented as a unit. They make references to the elite. It's called All Elite Wrestling. Wouldn't they all be elite? Because it's in the name, All Elite.
They don't come out during pay-per-views like, it's us, the
Yeah,
elite, here
like
to do the opening ceremony.
the inner circle is presented as a faction. The elite is not. It's just the same group of guys seems to run out every time that the odds need evening. And that's like the only association that you see of them on television. They never cut a promo together. They've never like come out and been like, we are the elite. This is what we stand for. These are our characters. These are our goals.
Nope, they're just sort of there. And like, take Hangman Page. Is he in the elite or not? I don't know. I don't watch the shows, so like,
I was my understanding that he left, but this week on commentary, it sure as hell sounded like he was still in the elite.
the fact that he was
Still
wrestling
teaming
in
with
tag with Kenny Omega,
Yeah.
even though they didn't like each other. Let's start talking about these matches.
Yeah, so Lucha Bros beat Hangman Page and Kenny Omega after Hangman Page hit a buckshot lariat on Kenny Omega, which allowed Pentagon to hit the package pile driver with the foot stomp assist from Phoenix. And the match itself was okay. It looks like they're building to a heel turn for Hangman Page. They got into a shoving match after the match, and then Pac out of nowhere.
Right. Diffusing the entire tension of the scene. Well, first of all, I thought this match was a little slow. They were taking their sweet time with it. I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe it's just style. But yeah, they're doing that, and the finale comes when it was like a malfunction, and hey, Hangman hits Kenny Omega, and they're like, "What the fuck, man? We're about to get in a brouhaha. Is this tag team going to break up already after the 15 minutes we were together? Cool. Like, is this going to be a new feud? I could see it. Sure, have a couple matches with
I
Hangman
think
and
those
Kenny.
would be good matches, but
But then, as you said, Pac diffusing the tension in the middle of the fight before they have a chance to like definitively like it really does feel like a cop out
yeah,
in a cheap way to be like, now it's Pac and he's gonna do something
to
else.
push them up. Yeah, and he has a problem with Kenny for some reason. Still, I don't know why. They don't seem to have any impetus to the feud. Kenny got his win back. I didn't realize they were still feuding. But he's like, now I'm going to show you what I'm capable of. And he goes to ambush one Michael Nakazawa, who I don't remember ever seeing on television, but is apparently Kenny's best friend.
From I think from New Japan, which like this
Wouldn't
is
that be
what
Ibushi?
I don't know. Probably. It makes sense. Side note, Ibushi's gonna be isn't he you said he was gonna be the flame boy for the
Okada is going to be one of the
Okada. Okay.
torchbearers at the Olympics in 2020.
Super cool. Yeah, so this guy, I have no idea who he is. I don't know if we're supposed to know. If this is like a New Japan thing, that's also stupid because not only are you competing with New Japan for wrestling stuff, a la, i.e. Chris Jericho,
Yeah.
um, now you're trying to say that, oh, if you don't know Kenny Omega's career in New Japan, you won't get this.
Yeah, if you haven't
That's
been following him
stupid.
for years, you won't get. So yeah, there's this, and I'm somewhat familiar with what he did over in Japan, and I don't fucking know who Michael Nakazawa is, and I don't remember seeing him on Dynamite ever. But that it causes Kenny to run after him, and then in this picture-in-picture, which they also need to cut
They
down on
need to
this
fix that shit.
this angles and picture-in-picture. Like, if you want to have like the match going on picture-in-picture, that's one thing, but don't shoot a fucking angle when it's picture-in-picture and I can't hear what the hell's going on.
Oh, my favorite one of those. And also we'll get to the inner circle note. They play it up because they're fucking professionals, and Chris Jericho knows what the fuck's up. My favorite one was last week when John Moxley, he's about to like cut a impromptu promo. He grabs the camera, he's like, "Hey man," and then it cuts to picture in picture, so you can't hear a fucking word he's saying. It's just him like,
Yeah, like that's not the first time they've done that. Like, it's just every time they shoot, they don't realize, or I guess they don't plan out the show with commercial breaks in mind. So there's like, oh, we gotta take a commercial, go to picture in picture, regardless of what's happening in the program. They need to do a better job of laying out these shows.
I think I saw a graphic during this. It was one of those like coming up next is whatever match was coming up next. But the graphic was during the picture in picture when you're ostensibly supposed to not be really paying attention. Like you're kind of looking at it off to the side. Where you're supposed to be reading the ads. But they put the fucking.
This is even the. They even made a note in the even the Wrestling Observer is getting sick of AEW shit, because I'm looking at the notes here that they have on F4W Online, and in all caps they read, "Stop shooting angles during the commercial breaks."
Oh my, yes. So fucking true. This angle was also that the Lucha Brothers run in
and attack him, and then Hangman Page shows up to shoo them away, and then Kenny goes to run off Michael Nakazawa, and then enter Darby Allin, who's walking to the ring for his match.
Hey, never mind that. Are we supposed to just forget that whole thing that Hangman and Kenny Omega were at all upset with each other? Because
they're trying to drag it out. Like, I know the end game is going to be Hangman's going to turn on Kenny Omega, and maybe he joins the Dark Order, because they losing streaks.
Oh God!
I don't like that bit of it, but obviously they're planning the turn for Hangman Page is going to turn on Kenny Omega, and they're going to feud. But they're trying to tease it. They're trying to do what they did with Roderick Strong in the Undisputed Era and with Finn Balor in the Undisputed Era, but they're not doing it so eloquently.
They don't have the charisma of the Undisputed Era.
Yeah, they're trying to drag it out so it's a bigger surprise when it actually happens, even though everyone can fucking see this coming from far away. So Cody and Darby wrestled the Butcher and the Blade and won. So they already beat the new tag team. That took 2 weeks.
Glad you put him up against your big super spot cruiserweight boy and the leader of the bunch, the DK crew.
Well.
You know him well. Fucking Cody is, oh God.
So you'd be like, okay, this is a great opportunity for Darby Allin to shine in a loss, and for Cody to once again put over the new act as serious players. But nope, they just beat him.
Yep.
Clean. Actually, despite interference from Alley, they just beat him. And no MJF appearance here. No promo by Cody, and no follow-up on the angle that they shot during the commercial break. No mention of it even throughout the rest of the show. So
this is where, hey guys, this is where jobbers come in real handy.
Yeah, think of all the fucking geeks they fed to the War Raiders when they were building them up.
Yes. I say jobbers because I can't think of any I want to say entrance talent. There's no Cassius Ohno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
like, how hard is it to pay a local indie geek $200 to do a job on television?
Not that hard, but apparently, no. We gotta put them right up front, put them on the main stage first one, so they can lose clean after the interference,
They can lose clean in just their second match.
which is sad to me because I like these guys. I like the Busher,
Yeah, they're
especially because he's a big dude, and this roster needs more big dudes.
yes, AEW is severely lacking in terms of big dudes, and he's a pretty good big dude. Like I like they got a nice look. They wrestle well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of the Butcher and the Blade. I didn't know anything about them going in. But I think they're not exactly a tag team that you build around, but they're a solid team that will be good to have in that division that you shouldn't have beat in just their second fucking week on television.
Yeah, I see them filling like a role, like oh TM whatchamacallit.
6-1.
Yeah, TM 6-1, or maybe a little bit better. Just like someone who's going to do the matches, maybe once in a while, maybe more like Street Profits. Someone who
Yeah,
does mostly mid matches, has a shot at the title once in a while.
yeah,
Because they're about the tag team matches actually matter, don't you know?
yeah. Um, we got a Jungle
Was
Boy training video, and he sat down with Jr. talking about his match with Jericho. And then Awesome Kong squash Miranda Alicia. So, it was a jobber match.
Yeah.
And it was effective. So, like, maybe consider doing that for other people.
Mm-hmm.
Kong hit a spinning back fist and won with the implant buster. And then they cut her hair. Brandy Rose cut an inset promo during the match, teasing Chris Statlander would join the Nightmare Collective, and a random bald guy was showing the promo, and I never know what the fuck Brandy's talking about.
It's true. Um, yeah, it feels like they're taking a while to get there. I like that they have like a thing now. It's again for me, it was all a lot of it was the details in this. And detail that I liked was that they have like a prop now that they can bring out, and it's an item that I can refer back to in my brain from week to week and be like, "That's the thing." They do the haircutting thing, and then he gets the okay, and then it builds from there because I understand what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, I mean,
AEW.
I understand what's going on. I don't know why it's happening. I would like to know that. That seems like it would be useful information getting me to care. Um, Chris Jericho and Jungle Boy went to a 10-minute time limit draw. This was a pretty good match. Hager and Luchasaurus got into it again, so clearly that's a match we're getting at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with that.
This
They all
was
got ejected.
yep. Marco Stunt got laid. That was funny. He got laid out in one shot. I was
Yeah,
like,
you got
ah.
killed. Um, yeah, and the match was pretty good. Jungle Boy acquitted himself very well. The finish came when he was in the walls of Jericho for a long time, like 90 seconds thereabouts, give or take a few. And
Mm-hmm.
he did not submit, so it went to a time limit draw. Chris Jericho demanded 5 more minutes, but after a couple pinning combinations, he took his ball and went home. But then he didn't go home because he hung around on the ramp and cut a promo afterwards. Where Jungle
He's
Boy
throwing
was
a
during
tantrum.
any of this, I don't know.
Yeah, he was just sort of sitting there. Yeah, excuse me. It's just like I love it. And she's like, no, no, no. He'll be fine. You just let him. He'll just run himself out of steam, and you can put him to bed later. Okay, it's really easy. I'll give you $20 for the night. There's string cheese in the fridge.
Yeah. The first part of this match was exactly what it should have been, and then all the post match stuff was pretty wonky in how they executed it. He
Mm-hmm.
came back out during the commercial. He jawed with Jungle Boy's family at ringside, and then when he was back from break, Tony Schiavone interviewed him. He said Jungle Boy couldn't beat him, and then Schiavone reminded him about the 10 minutes. He said he didn't say it, and then took the microphone and shooed him away. He offered Moxley again to join the Inner Circle, and said that they'll have a surprise for him on the New Year, and they wished him a Merry Christmas. So I wouldn't mind if Moxley joins the Inner Circle for pretend and tries to destroy them from the inside. I think that could be a pretty interesting. I mean, they gotta drag this out. Their next pay-per-view is until February, and that's
Right.
going to be the title match, obviously. So if they start the feud now, that's going to feel pretty played out by the time they get to the pay-per-view. So I think it behooved them to add this little wrinkle to it, where it's kind of like what Randy Orton did with the Wyatt family when he was in there, destroyed from within.
Yeah.
But I don't have confidence in them to tell that story.
Yeah, although out of any of the people on here, they're the ones I would have the most faith in. They've been the most, I guess, competent at building
between
stories.
Jericho and Mox, yes,
Yeah,
they could pull it off. But will the creative team book the angle? That's what I don't have confidence in.
who knows? At least they understand picture in picture. Because Spanish God, what's his name? Fucking forget.
Sammy Guevara.
Sammy Guevara, yeah, he comes out during the picture in picture with the fucking cue cards. It's so we heard you can't hear us during these things.
Yeah.
But we just want to, let you know that we're still here. But what was funny for me was I was watching this on Hulu, and it was picture in picture, and he gets to the point we just want you to know that the Inner Circle is, and then it cuts so that Hulu can do its ads, which are full picture,
right,
and do not show picture in picture. So I even missed that one.
Yeah.
But I laughed.
Yeah. Jen Decker interviewed SCU. The Lucha Bros interrupted. Pentagon told Chris Daniels that he doesn't have it anymore. He showed them the video of their match on his phone. Kazarian told Daniels to show him he still has it, but Daniels just walked off instead. So I guess they're still feuding. I don't even fucking know what's going on with any of that.
Get to bring a spreadsheet before the next show, guys. You got all Christmas break to do it.
Yeah, they're feuding, I guess, but now the Dark Order is feuding with them, and the Young Bucks and the Elite. It's all gobbledygook. 12 weeks starting next week. Turn this shit around, or we'll drop Dynamite and go back to doing retro pay-per-views or some shit like that.
I wouldn't mind it.
I
really wouldn't.
Yeah, because I'm nearing the end of my road. The honeymoon period is well over, and now we begin the fair valuation of this show. And to be perfectly honest with you, it's not that great. I mean, better than Raw and SmackDown, sure, but that's not saying a whole lot. I don't watch those shows either.
Yeah. It's almost like the opposite problem that Raw and SmackDown have.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Next up, we had the number one contenders match for the women's title between Britt Baker and Chris Statlander.
So they shot the rocket to her ass, didn't they?
They really did, which, I guess I'm fine with. She's
one of the more interesting performers in the division. This was another solid match. She's yet to have a bad match on Dynamite, so it's fine. Britt Baker, I'm still not sure what to make of her, because sometimes her matches are good and sometimes they're bad, and it's not always a easy distinction of she had a good opponent here but a bad opponent here. She has very hair-miss chemistry with the other women on the roster. But this match I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, I think Chris just has... I think she could just bring it... I don't know. I think she can bring out a good match of people.
The gimmick is a little weird. I will...
It's weird. But they don't push it too hard.
Yeah.
Which is good. Don't go full fucking like what was it? Who's that mailman gimmick wrestler?
Mailman
Back
gimmick
oh
wrestler?
god, it was some on some really fun. Maybe it was in it like a territory or something. I don't know.
Maybe,
Maybe
yeah. I
I'm just imagining some shit in my
I'm
own
sure.
head.
No, I'm sure it existed somewhere, but I can't say as though I'm familiar with it. But
Right.
yeah, like it's this weird dichotomy though, because like in the lead up to the launch of Dynamite, all the press releases are like, oh, we're going to be like Mid South wrestling back in the territory days. We're going to have a focus on in ring action, and we're not going to have the silly gimmicks and silly storylines. But then you have like Orange Cassidy and Marco Stunt and Chris Statlander, like out there gimmicks, and like you can tell they're out there, and you can tell that Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone were sold on this notion that it was going to be like Mid South, because they're like fucking making fun of the gimmick, these
Yeah.
stupid gimmicks, which is the highlight of the show for me. Is just the fucking flabbergasted resignation of Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone being like, "What the fuck is this shit?" And Excalibur trying to be like, "Oh, this is what the future of wrestling is," and they're like, "What the fuck are you on, man?"
I don't want to go to the future. Future's weird. Yeah, JR just fucking. He's great.
I mean, he might get
He's a free
fired
spirit.
before before too long. I don't know if they're pleased with his commentary, but and I know a lot of people on Reddit hate it because he's like, oh, he's not like invested in the matches. Like, how could you expect him to be into a lot of the shit that they're putting on TV here? Like,
Hmm.
he's trying to make sense of it. Like, he had the good sense not to immediately know who the Butcher and the Blade were when they debuted. And he was trying to help Excalibur out real hard with that, but he just was not picking up on it.
Hey, it's this new team that just got on the scene. Why don't we
Why
learn a
would
little
we
more
know
about
their
them?
names?
But they're
um,
the Butcher and the Blade.
and the Bunny.
Funny.
um, this picked up towards the end. Statlander. It's a weird gimmick, but she has a very interesting and unique charisma. Um,
Yes.
and Riho was shown at ringside reacting to the finish.
Hmm. She has
Um,
an interesting finisher too.
yeah, it is
I
kind
think it
of
takes a little long to set up.
yeah. It's not a great like out of nowhere sort of move, but like it.
Hmm.
Not to be fair, neither is like the one winged angel. Like that
Right.
takes a fair amount of setup too. So if it worked
I
for
don't.
him,
I don't remember it's like what's the name of this finisher? I forget. It's like
um,
not like a Galaxy Buster.
Statland. I don't remember what it is, but it's basically a gory bomb pile driver sort of deal.
Okay.
Um, I yeah. Uh,
Um.
Tony Schiavone was interviewing Statlander. Statlander booped him, and Brandy cursed at Schiavone for leaving her with a bad mic or something. Like I never know what the fuck this woman's talking about.
Was that almost felt like a shoot or something? It's like you left me with a mic backstage that wasn't working. Like,
It's like, well, when was he backstage? He was at commentary, and now he's interviewing her. Like, what the fuck are you talking
why
about?
would you want to use your mic backstage? Like, were you gonna do like one of those things where you call her out and then walk out? Is that what's happening? You're not. You gotta really fucking overdo it here. That's the one thing that you learn in promo schools. You gotta go. You gotta go all the way.
Yeah. Uh, Brandy asked her if she was joining the Nightmare Collective. Statlander waved her finger no. And then Melanie Cruz and Kong came out to beat down Statlander. Brandy spiked her in the eye with her heel. Sadie Gibbs ran out to make a save. And it was just a fucking cluster.
Yes, and it wouldn't even be the only time tonight where a heel uh, mob style uh, stable comes out to bully the
Yeah.
faces
My
in an
understanding,
attempt to recruit them.
yeah, my understanding is that I don't know if this is still the case, but like I at one point remember reading that like Cody is in charge of like booking the singles division for the men, Brandy's in charge of the women, with Kenny and the Young Bucks are in charge of booking the tag team division. And it's very clear that they don't communicate with each other to make a cohesive show, because so many times you see the same style of angles repeated up and down the show.
Yeah. Because they probably are, they're talking with each other, and they're throwing things around. And if you're not actually communicating about what you're going to put on there, everyone comes to like the same conclusions. You've had that where everyone wants to say the same word at the same time because the conditions are there,
Yeah.
to set it up, and that's what we get. So I think we just need to actually get down what the fuck we're actually doing.
Yeah. I mean,
Another stumbling block.
The show can be good, but they have a lot they need to clean up. And I know live TV isn't easy, but they brought this on themselves. So they hope they have a plan to get better. I heard that like last week, Chris Jericho called a locker room meeting, and he like chewed out the tag teams, Lucha Bros in particular, for not like adhering to the rules of tag team matches and making the refs look like idiots. And I was like, yes. That's a very valid point. Listen to Jericho. Give Jericho the book. Let Jericho fucking book this show. And then maybe it'll fucking be good.
Oh, you're selling me pipe dreams here, Kurt.
I mean, honestly, this isn't working, or not working. Well, it's not working for us, and I mean the ratings are down, so clearly other people feel the same way. And his segments are consistently the best. He's been around the business a lot longer than any of the other people in charge. Give him the book. Let him book the fucking show. At least until the other guys learn how to fucking do it.
This is it's the diversity that you're trying to bring to AEW. Utilize it.
Yeah.
Utilize it. Asshole.
Sean Spears and Tully Blanchard are searching for a tag team partner, because that's what the show needs. More tag teams.
Yeah, and then they cut that promo about the tag team divisions, which I thought was a little silly.
Yeah, it
was. Maybe as an understatement. But they're just like, here in AEW, tag team matches actually matter. And I'm like, AEW, none of these matches matter.
You just had a fucking 0-8 wrestler wrestle the fucking champion and like tease a pin of the champion. Like if Jungle Boy, I like Jungle Boy, but if he had pinned Chris Jericho, that would have been it. I would have been done with Dynamite right there.
And I don't know. All right, I guess they're leaning hard into the tag team angle even more than this, because they're like, yeah, guys, wasn't it cool how all our fucking main events of every night is a tag team match? They leaned into
find fewer lovers of tag team wrestling more devoted than myself. So I don't mind an emphasis on the tag team division, but a lot of the tag team matches just aren't very good. Like, the top of the division is fine. SCU, Lucha Bros, Young Bucks, they're all fine teams. I don't particularly care for the Young Bucks style, but they're a decent team. But then you go down one rung, and the depth just isn't there. The Best Friends, they're not that great a team. I mean, Butcher and Blade are okay. Dark Order
just started out.
Dark Order's a good team with a terrible gimmick, and then it just gets worse from there. I can't even name any of the other tag teams.
Right. It's not a deep roster either.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna, what's the worst part about this is that they're gonna tout this, and I don't know if they're gonna keep running with this and trying to push it. But if they do, they're gonna run right the fuck into the Dusty Rhodes Classic coming up on goddamn NXT, which is gonna just blow their ass out of the water with a full tournament of just top-notch tag team wrestling.
Really good tag team wrestling, as it is every year. That's coming back early part of 2020. So, if tag team wrestling's the hill that you're building your house on, you got some floodwater coming in.
So the main event was a tag match, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, it was a tag team title match between SCU and the Young Bucks. SCU won. This match was weirdly short, I guess, because they had to get the angle in. But like it just felt like it ended in the middle of the match, and it wasn't that great. The Bucks got more of the offense than they should have for the amount of time it went, and
Mm-hmm.
they what did they win with? Tandem Dragon
I
Sleepers. Bucks escaped. Nick hit a DDT on the apron to Kazarian. Matt used a cradle on Sky for a near fall. Sky hit Matt with a TKO, and then they hit SCU later on Matt, and Kaz got the pin. Yeah, it was a pretty good tag team match, but like again, just felt like it ended in the middle of it, and I was like, okay, I just like finished watching AEW not that long ago, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. Oh, okay, this ended quickly. I'm gonna go and like make dinner or whatever, and then like the fucking lights flicker and like they had cutaways with like join Dark Order and shit throughout the night. So
mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was just going to be something we're building to like next week or the week after. But nope, tonight they all came out and I was like, oh fuck, I guess they're gonna watch the rest of this here. And the Creepers came to the ring. The lights went out. Dark Order appeared on the stage. Uno cut a promo. We congratulated SCU. He said he would recruit the Bucks another time, but tonight was an initiation. And then Reynolds and Silver jumped the Bucks and SCU. Who are Reynolds and Silver, you ask? Good question. I don't know.
And their masks will promptly keep us from ever knowing, as
Yeah,
they.
I don't know if they're supposed to be a like an indie team that they signed, like the hottest free agent gimmick. I don't know if that's the case, that they were guys that were on the roster that we're just now like seeing. Couldn't tell you. But we're evidently we're supposed to know who they are because they mentioned them as Reynolds and Silver.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll be the enhancement talent. Like you have to get through them and through some of these other creepers to get to the Evil Uno. Hey, look, did I just write your fucking angle, boys?
Yeah,
Maybe I did. Maybe we'll have a cool multi-man match where he has to fight the whole fucking deal.
but it was
And
the same. It was the same tired AEW schmaz. Kenny ran out, but then they beat him down. Cody and Dustin ran out, but then they beat him down. They called attention that Hangman Page was conspicuous by his absence, but then Uno put his hand in Matt's mouth and then ripped it out. Um,
there was
there was
a
no
mysterious
blood.
red substance on there.
Like, I mean,
Yeah,
it was supposed to be blood, but it wasn't a lot of it, and it wasn't pouring out of Matt's mouth. So I don't know what that was supposed to represent.
Evil Uno had a cherry tomato. He just went. He squished it on top of his mouth. Here's
Uh,
your citrus for the day, asshole.
so
Uh,
this was
and
a
that's how it
bad
ended.
show. The ring work was fine, but it was not as good as it was on the other show, and the angles were terrible.
God awful. God awful. Yeah, like I said, a lot of every little the polish, the details were not there. There were maybe a couple of people who felt inspired to do wrestling stuff on the show. Otherwise, it was like you said, the ring work was fair, but the stuff surrounding it was either not present or not at the level of engagement that it needed to be at, which only highlights its competitor this week.
Yeah, because this NXT show was fucking great. Um, there was not a bad match on this show, and like they didn't shoot many angles, but like this was the payoff to a lot of angles.
Yeah, they're this is how you do an end of the year show,
Yeah,
guys.
this is what a season finale feels like. We had title matches on this show, two of them. I mean, I guess they had a title match in their main event too, but we
Did it
had
really feel like it? No.
previously announced title matches.
Yeah.
We kicked off with Adam Cole and Finn Balor presented commercial free. This match was great. They worked their asses off. They did a lot of like really quick chain wrestling exchanges in the beginning, and then they started hitting the bigger moves, and this big move after big move after big move. Great near falls off of super kicks, and there's the near fall where they're like trading kicks, and Balor hits the Pele kick, and Adam Cole just falls down right on top of him for a 2 count. They really had you thinking that Finn Balor was going to win because he hit the shotgun drop kick, set up for the coup de grace, went to hit the 1916, but then the crowd starts buzzing, and we don't know why they're buzzing, but then they cut, and out comes Johnny Gargano looking rather upset.
Yep. And it's just
so
shock and awe.
An angle was followed up on in a meaningful way.
And that's all he had to do was just, he's there. And you remember.
Yep.
The visual.
Balor took his eye off the ball. Cole hit a low blow and followed up with the last shot to score the pin. Then Gargano went and got a chair and waylaid Balor with it. Balor took off for the crowd, and this feud will continue, and we'll finally get our Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano match, which should also be good if this match was any indication, which this was a great match. Great way to kick off a show, and when you contrast it with the opening of the AEW show, which was also a pretty good match, but not near this level. Like, if anyone was on the fence, if anyone started watching AEW and like changed the channel to see what was going on in the other show, doubtful they ever changed back.
No, because you tuned in, and you also heard that this crowd was fucking white hot.
Oh my god, they were nuclear. Credit to AEW for getting like some crowd reaction out of fucking Corpus Christi.
Yeah.
I mean, that was impressive in and of itself, but compared to the crowd heat, no comparison. And then we followed it up with Damian Priest versus Killian Dane, a match that, I wouldn't have thought would have been that great, but turned out was fucking great.
You never thought you'd see this now.
This match went like 10, 12 minutes, which, like, if you had told me last week, oh, Kurt, Damian Priest and Killian Dane are going to wrestle for 12 minutes, I've been like, ugh, that sounds rough. But I watched the match, and it fucking was great. Damian Priest pretty much worked babyface. He had the injured ribs. He made his babyface comeback. The crowd was into him. I'm like, they might be getting ready to turn Priest. I think that might be a little bit soon, but the crowd seems ready to cheer him. I'm ready to cheer him.
Yeah.
Give me my gangly boy.
Whip his hair back and forth.
I just love how gangly he is. It makes me happy to watch him wrestle because he's just all limb. He's just...
He'll wrap you.
He's going to wrap you. The story of the match was Priest had his injured ribs from the triple threat match at the TakeOver. Dane worked him over for much of the match. Then Priest made a comeback. He fired up. He began to clean house. Dane went to powder, but Priest cut him off with a springboard flip over the ropes to the floor, which got a huge pop. He followed up with the South of Heaven for a near fall. Dane would then hit a senton, roll into attempted Vader bomb, but Priest got his knees up and hit the Reckoning for the flash pinfall, and crowd reacted big to the finish, which I would not have thought heading into this, but hey, I guess that's on me because Killian Dane's really good and Damian Priest is really good, but I just didn't think that It's weird because you had two ostensibly heel versus heel matches to kick off the show, but it worked.
Yeah. They made it work. It was magic. Oh. And then, speaking of fucking magic, this next match, Cameron Grimes versus Kushida.
Yeah.
How they ever got that to work.
I mean, they had the match before and it wasn't bad. And like Cameron Grimes, he's starting to settle into his groove here. I don't know if he was just like nervous about what sort of things he was going to be able to do in NXT. I don't know what the deal was, but he's been more impressive of late. And they're tweaking his gear to make him look a little more interesting. I still think he needs something on his arms, like at least wrist tape. Like he's just got these weird looking arms.
They're just out there. They're just all out there.
But
Yeah,
he's
just a
got
little something.
personalized trunks now, and they actually look pretty good. He's got the
Mm-hmm.
vest, he's got the hat. It's coming together for him. And this match was actually really fucking good. Kushida was like out wrestling him, and Grimes would like hit a big move here and there, and then Kushida would like come back with a series of strikes, and then they would like trade moves, and they hit a running Spanish fly. Grimes got the 2 count off of that. They went back and forth during the commercial. Grimes had the advantage when they came back from break. He worked the back of Kushida, beeled him across the ring, hit a backbreaker to continue working the back, and then Kushida hit a handspring back elbow, and then he hit another one in the corner, and he went to get the cross arm breaker, but Grimes rolled around and finally found the ropes. Kushida went back. They worked body parts. That's why this match, the psychology was working. Grimes was working the back. Kushida was working the arm.
Mm-hmm.
And then the finish came when Kushida flipped Grimes off the top for a 2 count. And then after another series of exchanges, Grimes hit the double stomp out of nowhere for the pinfall. It was a quick pin, but the match built really well to that point. And, it was a defeat for Kushida, but in such a way that it was presented as like they were on equal footing and it could have gone either way. He just happened to
Right.
get caught.
Got the one. Yeah. And it gives more establishment to Cameron Grimes' style, not to mention like he's ready to win some matches now and be a
This
serious
was
player.
definitely the most significant win of his NXT career so far. Because while Kushida's been out for a while, before he was out, he was being pushed really hard. So like
Yeah, he
he
was
has
touting his
cachet
whole
with the
undefeated
audience.
shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
They had a video package to hype Io Shirai. Then they cut to commercial. When they came back, it was Io Shirai versus Santana Garrett. This is a quick match. Shirai won with the moonsault. This felt like it was just kind of filling time, but it broke up a lot of these other matches, which was nice. They put over Garrett on commentary, so it looks like they're maybe getting ready to push her.
When is Mae Young Classic coming up? When's the
I
next
have
one?
no idea. I don't know if they've even announced they're going to do another one.
Okay.
I would like to see another Cruiserweight Classic before we saw another Mae Young Classic.
That would be nice, especially now that they're like porting over the whole roster.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest with you, I was not that impressed with the quality of work in the last Mae Young Classic.
That's true. There was some stuff going on, and I still think of Tegan Knox.
Poor
coming
girl.
out. It's like yikes. Yeah. That was a summer thing.
Yeah.
That was August. So
yeah, that sounds about right. That's usually when they do those.
It's gonna be it would if it was gonna happen, it'd be a little outwards. I was wondering if they're trying to put some more women on the show in case they were doing a Mae Young class and be like, here, look at the roster.
I think Shayna's moving to Raw and maybe taking the Horsewoman with her, so they kind of got to fill out the numbers.
I wonder why she would be moving to Raw. Maybe we'll learn about that later in the show.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I would like to see the Cruiserweight Classic again, like I said, because they have a lot more cruiserweights. They're doing cruiserweight matches in the thing. They're doing the Cruiserweight Champion in NXT.
Yeah, and the last one was just so great.
And they are doing Worlds Collide, right? They're still doing that.
Yeah, that's coming up. That's in place of the January takeover. So the next takeover is in February. And before the Royal Rumble, they're going to do Worlds Collide, which is just going to be NXT versus NXT UK this year because 205 Live doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, poof. It's still fine. It's just straight. Again, I like if you want to do just match focused wrestling, focus on the action, not too much story going on. Tournament's a great way to do that.
Love
Tournament
me a
solves
good
so many
tournament.
problems. Yeah, thanks Triple H, fucking out here doing. Triple H is he's the commissioner of the World Martial Arts Tournament. He
Triple
just
H is I think the reason I like NXT so much is because Triple H books the way I would book. The
yeah
the stories aren't complicated. It's clear. Like you don't try to force baby faces and heels. You adapt to what the crowd's doing. You push people in a way that makes sense. You don't push them too hard. Although for a while there, I thought they were pushing Keith Lee a little too hard, and they're in danger of pushing Rhea Ripley a little too hard. Like the crowd's really behind her
mm-hmm.
now, but if they like, typically, particularly after the War Games match, I was like, they're if they keep pushing her as Super Rhea, then she's going to end up like Roman Reigns, and I'd hate to see that.
Yeah, I think the next couple shows will be very informative. I think Keith Lee and Rhea maybe got the touch of the other two rosters. They came in and they touched them, and it's like, oh no, we got to really push them now.
Yeah,
Um, so we'll see how that develops.
yeah. I mean, Keith Lee lost the number one contenders match. So like he didn't get pushed into the title match. So they didn't like cool on him or anything, but it just like felt he came out of that feud with Dijakovic and like instantly he was like being pushed as this unstoppable monster man. I'm like that came out of nowhere. We
Yeah.
got some great gifts out of it though.
yes.
Um,
The Keith Lee bounce.
the pounce where
Boom.
Adam he just yeeted Adam Cole into like the fifth row. He yoked him. I'm sorry.
Gone, never to be seen again.
Man was he's like Team Rocket.
Blasting off again.
Pete Dunne wrestled Travis Banks in what was a really good match. They started with some grappling, and then they went into fast-paced action. They didn't have a lot of time, but they got their shit in, that's for sure. Um,
Yep.
the craziest spot of this match goes to Pete Dunne, who hit a Avalanche Xplex, which was a move that I never imagined I'd see ever. Uh, I said ever twice
even
because I was in that much disbelief.
even the fucking name sounds illegal.
Wait, that's
Fucking
illegal.
Avalanche Xplex? What?
Yeah. Um,
It's like a pump handle senton. How is that ever going to happen?
how does that even work? It doesn't sound like it should be physically possible. um, Banks hit a Kiwi Crusher, which netted him a 2.5 count. And then, I'm sorry, that was the Avalanche Xplex. Then Dunn hit Banks with a kickstart to hit, or the kicks, as it's written here. I think it's just a kick, and there was a typo. To set up the bitter end for the pinfall. Kathy Kelly interviewed Dakota Kai for her thoughts about Mia Yim. Kai reminded us all that she won that match, and I guess she got 8 staples in her head from that table spot. Although I don't recall seeing any blood, but sure, I'll take her word for it. I'm sure she'd know.
Fair.
She's coming in, she's getting a little bit better as a heel. I think the facial expressions still just aren't there. She doesn't have like a
The mean mug.
yeah, she doesn't have a face built for scowling. She's not like Keith Lee. She's
Yeah.
she works well when she's, smiley Dakota Kai. She's got a naturally likable face. She's a very pretty young girl. And like the scowl just doesn't. I like the new hair. I'll give her that, but the scowl just doesn't look natural on her. But the promos are coming along, which is
Yes.
really half the battle when it comes to heel work.
Yeah.
Um,
In AEW, it's none of the battle.
NXT will have a Christmas Day episode, unlike NXT. It's announced that Roderick Strong will be putting his title, or not unlike AEW, I think I said NXT, will put his title on the line in a North American Championship challenge. Who answers the challenge? I don't know. I don't And it's probably going to be Keith Lee because he's just all over everything these days.
Yeah.
Although I could see Dijakovic possibly. Or you know who it's going to be. It's going to be Velveteen Dream, and he's going to win the title back.
He's gonna come out of a fucking Christmas present in his goddamn Santa costume, and it's gonna be fucking all velveteen Santa costume, and it's gonna be sexy Santa, and the ladies are the elves, and he's gonna come out and he's gonna. Oh, you're fucking right. You're so right. That sounds so Velveteen Dream.
Because I'm like, who could it be? Why wouldn't they announce the? I'm like trying to think of someone they signed that they could bring in, and I'm like, well, Velveteen Dream's probably ready to come back. And like, this is definitely a spot where the Velveteen Dream would come out and probably get the win in his return. So I don't think they will. I don't think the Undisputed Era will survive the year with all the gold. We're getting into an interesting spot with the Undisputed Era because I think they're kind of reaching the end of the rope. I think that you should keep the title on Adam Cole until WrestleMania weekend where he can drop it to Ciampa. And then you have a choice. I don't like any of these options, by the way. You either break up the Undisputed Era, you turn Adam Cole babyface, and he feuds with the other three for a while. You move them to Raw or SmackDown as a unit, or you turn them babyface as a unit. And the only problem with turning them babyface as a unit is then who are your heels?
Right. And what do you do with a babyface group? They're not going to all run in together and
yeah,
save the babyface in the match.
I mean, they did it with the Shield. They turned the Shield babyface, and that worked out well. But they need something to feud with, and the only like logical feud I could think of would be against Imperium. But that'd be a weird logistical thing to work out, unless you want to move the OC down to NXT, which I would be 100% on board with. Give me AJ Styles in NXT 100%.
Oh my god!
But those would be like the only two feuds that make sense. I think they're gonna break them up, and I'm not gonna like it. Adam Cole will be fine as a babyface. He'll be mega over as a babyface, and I'm not so worried about. I think they can do fine if Bobby Fish wants to wind down on the wrestling. He can like kind of be the mouthpiece for O'Reilly and Strong as a tag team, and they can just be a tag team. I think they can survive like that, but poor Roderick Strong, man. The Undisputed Era is the best thing that ever happened to him.
So good. Yeah.
But they've been doing this for a long time, and eventually everything reaches the end of its rope.
Mm-hmm. There is another option, I guess, where they just lose the belts and they just sort of skate. They turn the volume knob down, and they're just back on a little lower on the card, still as a heel unit.
Yeah, but like it's just at that point, like where do they go from there? Like they need to have something. It's been 3 years now, almost, that they've been a unit, and they've been a heel the whole time. Like I would be interested to give them a try, flipping them babyface, but they need something these are like the four of them represent like the top heels on the brand. Outside of them, there's like the next highest heel is like Killian Dane, which he's much further down the card. Yeah, it used to be Ciampa, but now he's a babyface. Unless you want to turn, I mean, I guess Balor. Balor would be the next other top heel.
Maybe just the Undisputed Era performs mitosis, and Balor comes in, becomes a 3 and a 2.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting how they handle it.
I
maybe Triple H is smarter than us. Who would have thought?
Entirely possible. He has quite a bit more experience in the wrestling business than either of us.
Yeah, maybe he'll do something that we didn't list here. A little unexpected, maybe just be the right thing. Who knows?
Yeah. So quickly, because Peter has a movie to catch, we'll run
Hey,
through the main event. Rhea Ripley wrestled Shayna Baszler and won the NXT Women's Championship. So ding dong, the witch is dead.
holy
Shayna's
shit.
reign of terror is over, and I think it'll stick a little longer than the last time the reign of terror was over, which we were present for. We hugged strangers when Kairi Sane pinned Shayna Baszler in the
Yeah.
Barclays Center. But yeah, this match was pretty good. They worked hard. They got their shit in, and we had the return of the 1,000-year submission hold. It wasn't an
Yes.
armbar, but Rhea Ripley was in that Kira Fuda clutch for about 7 days.
Although I gotta say, I liked it this time.
It
Um,
wasn't, yeah, it wasn't as bad as, you know, because there was more stuff that happened prior to it.
yes. She didn't just sit there in the center of the ring, dying slowly in front of our eyes.
Yeah,
She took like at least a couple chances to try and get to the ropes, and
yeah,
Baszler just fucking Pillsbury doughboyed her back into the middle.
yeah.
She had to fucking do it all over again with
She
a busted arm because she
they
sold that arm to high heaven.
That she did. They did the three arm dropping, but then she rallied up. She hulked up. She
She grabbed
ripped
the
her out.
fucking ref's cloak, the ref's shirt.
Yeah,
I was like,
they wrestled into the corner. Rhea got her up in the corner and hit an avalanche riptide for the win and for the title. And then the locker room emptied. We had a Eric Bugenhagen sighting.
he's still here, ladies and gentlemen.
um, and it was a feel good moment. It felt like a big win. This was like they built up Shayna really well. This is how you do like a changing of the guard. Like you have the person who's been champion for a long time. They've looked really strong. They've run through everyone, and then you have the new challenger that you're ready to put the belt on. You build them up in some side matches. They have some interactions. There's never a decisive winner. And then when the time is right, you pull the trigger, you put the belt on the new girl, and fucking this crowd exploded. Like, babies were crying, women and children were hugging, and, like,
Town bells were ringing in the distance as the flower girls came out and danced the fucking maypole to celebrate the new fucking lunar cycle.
the Lollipop Guild came out to present her with a ring. And it, it felt like a special moment and like one of the better endings to an episode of NXT in recent memory. Um, it was just one of those feel good wins. Like Shayna was a very effective heel. She came a long way, but she was still like a limited worker and not like in a way where she was able to get effective heel heat. Like she didn't do anything like super flashy or cool that made you want to cheer her a lot. And she was very good at getting effective heel heat, and she did for so long. Like I call it the reign of terror because like if not for all the other good matches going on in women's division during her title run, like this would be looked at as a very bleak period in this women's division because every match was Shayna wins with the choke, Shayna wins with the choke, Shayna wins with the choke. Just like during Triple H's reign of terror, every match someone needs a pedigree, someone needs a pedigree, someone needs a pedigree.
Yeah.
And unlike that time where the time was right to put the belt on Booker T at WrestleMania 19, and they didn't do that. They did the right thing here, and they put the belt on Rhea Ripley, and it was perfect execution.
I think it was everything Triple H wanted. It was the catharsis of a fucking an angle that paid off. He gets so few of those because all his wrestlers get injured before they can put in their climactic
They get
matches.
injured or they get called up. And he's like, I could just see him in the. I want to see the picture of him. I want to see the Triple H pointing picture with Rhea Ripley because I want to see how big his smile is because I'm sure he's just got that like finally it worked out. I've been building
Just
this.
give me one, damn it.
for 3 months, and I finally got to book my payoff. That's why this didn't wait till TakeOver, by the way. You know that. He's like, I can't risk anyone getting injured. We're doing it now.
Oh yeah, no, great fucking moment, boys. Way to end the year.
Great moment.
Jeez.
Well, I mean, they have one more show. This isn't even the last show of the year.
The encore.
This was a great episode of NXT. Top to bottom, great wrestling. The angles they shot were few but effective. They shot the angle to extend the Balor feud with Gargano. They advanced the Cameron Grimes Kushida story, and they paid off angles in a big way on this show. This is as damn near a perfect wrestling show as you could ask for on a Wednesday night. And, thank God. Like, if NXT lost the ratings war this week, fucking, I don't even know what to say. I've lost the pulse of wrestling, if that's the case.
Yeah. There was one comment that really that sealed the deal for me. I was reading the post episode discussion. It was like, if you didn't get hype when Rhea grabbed the ref's collar in defiance of submitting to that pin, you don't like wrestling.
Yeah, do you even like wrestling? Like, this was, like, I heard similar things about the War Games match. And it's like, if you couldn't get excited about that, what can you get excited about? I don't think that's as definitive, but like this, if this match did not evoke any emotion in you, then you might as well just stop watching wrestling, because I don't know what there is for you.
Go back to AEW. Go watch their matches. They might be more your speed.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it takes all types, different strokes for everyone. I got nothing against someone who likes AEW, but objectively there are issues with that show, and it was the difference in quality. Usually NXT is better, but this week it was a gulf in quality. Like, not even I'm honestly shocked that the ratings battle was as close as it was.
I want to see. They're glad that they're not doing a show next week, because I would love to see the fucking ratings for the show after this.
I'm actually very interested to see the NXT rating next week. I want to see. Well, it's Christmas, so that's going to hurt the rating in general. But I kind of want to see how much of that AEW audience they pick up. But it'll probably be pretty low ratings because it's Christmas Day.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
I mean, hey, it's a major holiday. I don't blame anyone for not being like, oh, put the gifts on hold. We gotta watch NXT. We gotta see Roddy's coming on. Come out of a present, and his purple Santa suit. All right.
It is. Oh, it is gonna be purple, isn't it? Oh, you're so right. God, I'm such an idiot. Yes.
All right. We'll be back hopefully next week. No promises, because that is, like, again, Christmas. But hopefully we'll be back next week. If not, we'll be back the following, as soon as we can. We will have a show for next week's show, singular. Yeah. All right. So see you next time. Be well, stay safe, wrestle like it's 1995. Check out saturnstuds.com, all that fun stuff. See you in the next one.